and let's show them how to label lines in Android.
Sure. I'm going to tap onto edges. That's where all of our line labels live. And, this roof is mostly eaves. And that's the first thing we have at the top. So let's start with eaves.
Perfect.
And I'm going to label 1 to start out with.
Okay.
Because if we tap on eaves a second time, we have these options to add additional subline labels. That's what we call them. But really, it's about whether or not you're going to be including ice and water shield on this project. Whether or not you're going to be putting drip edge or any other item that needs that eave edge measurement. So specifically, gutter apron, drip edge, edge vent, those are items that you might install at the eave edge, which would require this sublabel.
Gotcha.
Notice the difference when I've added those sublabels to, let's say, this eave over here on the right. You get these little extra ice word, eave word. Those are the sublabels. But the one here, I didn't actually apply those labels to. I'll go ahead and tap it now, and you can see that they're added.
Wonderful.
Let's put those labels on all the eave edges and then switch over to rakes. But we don't actually have any rakes on this roof. It's all hips. So we'll jump down. Let me show you within rakes, though. We do have ice and water shield as an option and rake edge as an option. But we don't need those for right now. We'll go on to ridge. And the cool thing about ridge with these sublabels as well is you could put ridge vent on one ridge, but not ridge vent on other ridges. Now, for this particular roof, we're probably not going to use ridge vent on any other ridges, so you could just unhighlight it and take ridge vent off, but leaving the ridge label is, of course, going to calculate for our ridge cap material.
Gotcha.
Same thing when we come down here to hips. Well, we don't have to worry about any sublabels for hips. There aren't any. But in labeling them up as hips, we are going to get the total amount of linear footage for the hip and ridge product we need for the whole job. Notice how that last little hip line there is pretty tiny. Probably makes sense for me to go ahead and just zoom in now, switch back over, see how it remembers hips was the last thing I had selected.
Wonderful.
So I don't have to go back and reselect the hips. And then I can switch over to valley, get that valley there, pan and zoom over, go back to edges, and if I want, I can add ice and water shield to the valleys as well. From here, I'll go ahead and zoom back, and we can see that we have no yellow lines. And that's what you're looking for when you're doing a residential steep slope roof. You know that the line labeling is complete once you don't have any yellow lines.